Imagine a world trembling under the thunder of hooves. It is the mid-13th century, and the Mongols have swept across Asia like a living storm, annihilating kingdoms that once believed themselves eternal. Cities that stood for centuries fall in days. Monarchs flee. Empires crumble. From the edges of China to the gates of Europe, one chilling word spreads like a whisper of doom: Mongol. But far to the west, in the scorching heart of Egypt, an unlikely group of warriors is about to write one of the most astonishing chapters in human history. They were not kings. They were not nobles. They were not even native-born free men. They were slaves, warrior slaves. They were the Mamluks, children of the steppe, forged in chains. The saga begins with children stolen or purchased from the plains of Central Asia. Kipchaks, Circassians, Turks. Torn from their homelands, they were sold across deserts to Egypt, where the powerful Ayyubid sultans trained them to become elite cavalrymen. But these boys were not ordinary slaves. They were raised in military barracks, trained from childhood to ride, to shoot, and to kill. They grew up brothers in arms, loyal not to bloodlines but to each other. In a world ruled by hereditary dynasties, the Mamluks had no claim to noble birth. Their power came from something far stronger: discipline, skill, and absolute devotion to the sword. Over time, these warrior slaves became the backbone of Egypt's army. Their reputation grew, their influence deepened, and then, quietly and with terrifying efficiency, they seized power. In 1250, after the death of Sultan al-Salih Ayyub, the Mamluks overthrew the dynasty they served and proclaimed one of their own as ruler. Egypt had become a slave kingdom, led by men who owed their throne to nothing but their own steel. Just 2 years later, disaster struck the Islamic world. Baghdad, the jewel of the Abbasid Caliphate, was obliterated by Hulagu Khan's forces. The caliph was killed. The city burned. Scholars believed it was the end of civilization. With Iraq crushed and Syria falling, the Mongol army marched toward the next prize: Egypt. If Egypt fell, nothing would remain to stop the Mongols from sweeping into North Africa and perhaps beyond. The world expected the Mamluks to crumble. They had no ancient dynasty, no powerful allies, no divine right to rule. What they had was courage and each other. It is 1260. The Mamluks march north under their brilliant young leader, Sultan Qutuz, accompanied by the legendary general Baibars. They ride not to defend Egypt, but to meet the Mongols head-on in the open field, something no army had dared since Genghis Khan began his conquests. The place is Ain Jalut, the spring of Goliath, nestled in the hills of Palestine. The symbolism is not lost on anyone. This is David versus Goliath, civilization versus annihilation. Dawn breaks. The Mongol vanguard, led by the ruthless Kitbuqa, thunders into view. Their reputation alone should shatter morale. But the Mamluks do not tremble. Baibars rides forward, launching a brilliant feigned retreat, a tactic the Mongols themselves perfected. Kitbuqa pursues, but the valleys twist, narrow, and suddenly, the trap snaps shut. Mamluk troops erupt from the ridges. Arrows rain from all sides. Mongol lines buckle, then break. For the first time in their western campaign, the Mongols taste defeat. When the dust clears, Kitbuqa is dead, and the unstoppable storm has finally met an immovable wall. The legacy of the slave kings. The victory at Ain Jalut did more than save Egypt. It saved the Middle East. It halted the Mongol advance at the very edge of Africa. It showed the world that the Mongols were not invincible. For the next 2 centuries, the Mamluks would rule Egypt and Syria, building stunning architectural wonders, protecting trade routes, and forging a unique warrior aristocracy unlike anything else on earth. Their rise was unlikely, their victories improbable, their legacy undeniable. They were slaves who became kings, outcasts who became champions. And when the world needed them most, they were the army that stood between civilization and the brink of extinction.